As the last interview we did, the audio was not good, so we couldn't use it. I want to be on record on one, apologizing to you, and so that the public can know it's not that we favor Mr. Alexander so much that we have an interview with him every 2 days. It's just that the last one we could have only used one clip. Mr. Alexander, do you see, based on GECOM's current state of readiness, that it is equipped to deliver free and fair elections again?
I'm very glad that you phrased it, free and fair elections, because there is this continuous mantra, locally and even by some people who are not local, that they are convinced that GECOM can conduct elections in time for September 1. To conduct elections doesn't necessarily mean elections will be free, fair, and transparent. My disposition is that what is required of GECOM is free, fair, and transparent elections. That in the absence of certain things, in the context of Guyana's politics, in the context of the history of GECOM, in the absence of certain things, for example, like identification, by the use of fingerprints at the peace point, being one such thing, by not highlighting or finding a way to highlight the names of the overseas Chinese who are on the list, being another, that there are many things that are not in place to ensure the process is not corrupt. To the extent to which those things are in place, one cannot start off on the conclusion that GECOM is working towards a free, fair, and transparent election, because they are working with a number of flaws that can allow for the election not to be free, not to be fair, and not to be transparent.
And those flaws aren't likely to be rectified before September 1.
But in some regards, it's been a refusal to rectify the flaws. So if you take, for example, the issue of biometrics, which has two components: digital registration and using fingerprints for identification purposes. GECOM has refused to implement those things. Digital registration is critical because manual registration comes up with flawed fingerprints. And therefore, it is not allowed for maximum or even optimum cross-matching of delegates. Actually, duplicates can be true. Once you have duplicates, then there's a possibility that persons can vote twice. And that's a flaw that needs to be corrected.
And that will not be corrected in the timeline.
GECOM has said unequivocally that they don't have the time for that. They came around eventually. This is a matter that's been in the table for some time now.
Yes.
I tabled a motion in 2023 on this matter. They dilly-dally say they have to do feasibilities and did not come back to us until 24 November. And this discussion really culminated in 25. And the culmination was in relation to digital capture. That whilst there's no impediment to digital capture, it's too late. Time is against us. On the question of the use of the fingerprints for identification, the argument here is that we have had instances where there are allegations that not being disputed, that persons have voted for persons who are out of the jurisdiction, and therefore there must be some flaw in the identification process. And the idea of digital identification is to eliminate that possibility. That too has not been done. And there are various contentions. There's contention that needs legal legislative action, and that has not been taken. One of the arguments for not taking that is that time has passed for us to engage in that. And so we have a system where what occurred in the past may reoccur because we have not changed the use of identification cards, which are in the main dating. Because what we have identification cards are cards issued as early as 2008.
Yes.
It's now 17 years. And if you take somebody who was 14 years at 2008, 14 years then, the person is now eligible to vote, but it is 17 years it's passed. And that's the stage where features change.
Yes.
And so examine any ID card of that vintage, and you would see you really can't use the ID card identification. All the ID card does say is that the registered name is on that card. And presumably the person behind the card is the right person. But I will contend that even with all of the personnel in the polling station, it's a hard call to see if someone is or is not the person on the ID card.
Especially for those coming
Especially for those dated 2008.
Okay.
And one of the best examples that has been made public is the example of Vice President Jackie. If you see his ID card, it's full headed here and all of that, and you see it now, you cannot tell it's long symbols.
Okay. But everyone knows him.
Yeah, but I'm just showing
yes.
But by way of example, the problem that could go.
Okay.